exploited, ripped off, taken advantage of. Over the past year, that's the way that some customers have described feeling after taking out high-priced loans for solar panel projects. It's a story that our team has been following extensively. And this morning, investigative reporter Andrea Lucia and producer Lexi Salazar are here to talk about exactly how lawmakers are trying to find a new solution to this ongoing problem. So let's start out with how big of a problem is this?
I mean, it is a significant one. This is happening nationwide. There have been hundreds of complaints just here in Texas. We've spoken to dozens of upset customers. And typically, it starts with them getting a knock on the door, somebody selling them solar panels, expensive solar panels, and they say they're being misled. They're being promised that they're never going to get an electric bill again, that they are going to get a rebate from the government that's going to cover the full cost of this, and that just often ends up not to be true.
And we know that as bad as the problem has been in the past, it's getting a lot worse in recent years. So in 2020, the Texas Attorney General's office received 154 consumer complaints related to solar panels. That actually jumped 696 just last year. And the trend from the Better Business Bureau, it shows similar things happening. 1,069 complaints were filed against solar companies last year, but compare that to 434 in 2020.
Okay, so let's talk about, you mentioned a lot of this starts with a knock on the door. We're all used to seeing those solar panel salespeople walking down the sidewalks. Sometimes they knock on your door. This has to be a situation where not every salesperson is doing deceptive practices. So are the good guys trying to take a stand against the bad guys?
Oh, I mean, absolutely there are people out there who love solar, who hate that this is giving the industry a bad name. We've heard from people who are happy with their investments, customers who are happy, and we've heard from companies that are, trying to do the right thing, trying to run legitimate businesses here. And what's interesting is that often they're the ones who are pushing for regulation, who want to see some parameters on the market.
Yeah, and I think what makes this tricky, what we've learned, is that the way the system is set up is a little bit fragmented. So in a typical solar transaction, there are three companies that are usually involved. There's a sales company, an installer, and a finance company. And that actually can often lead to situations where an installer, they're contracted to a job that they weren't there for the front end of. So they weren't there when it was sold, and they learned maybe it should have never been sold in the first place. And that's actually why a local installer we spoke with says that he really welcomes any new regulation.
Okay, so let's talk about the regulation, because lawmakers are listening to the reporting that y'all have done for so long. What are they doing now? And I think we have an interview that y'all did that we want to take a listen to.
If we're going to have a lasting product and a lasting industry, that's going to be more than just a flash in the pan and disappear because of a bad reputation and horrible numbers. It's important that we abide by any regulations.
So that's actually Taylor Alexander, his company, Texas Solar Panels. He says that they actually go through a rigorous vetting process anytime they're contracted to install a project, so that they can really ensure that the customer actually knows what they purchased.
And that is, the goal. You want to know what you're spending these thousands of dollars potentially on, even if they are in the hopefully end going to save you money. Let's talk about lawmakers, though, because we know they've been listening to y'all's reporting. They've been trying to take notes on how this is impacting their constituents. What are they saying?
Okay, so there's two bills in the legislature that we've been watching. The first focuses on consumer education. It was authored by State Representative Gary VanDeaver, HB 1640. If passed into law, it would require the Public Utility Commission create this consumer guide that would include suggested questions for customers to ask. We spoke with Representative VanDeaver, and he told us he thinks this would be a really good just first step.
I would like to think that right now a lot of what we have are just people not aware, and maybe salespeople that maybe get a little over aggressive, but they're not intentionally trying to mislead someone. I would like to think that's the case.
So you mentioned that bill really focuses on consumer education. What about any efforts to go after the bad actors in this industry, the folks that are misleading customers?
Yeah, there actually is an effort by State Senator Judith Zaffarino. So she filed a companion bill to Gary VanDeaver's for the consumer education. She's on board for that. But then she filed SB 1036, which goes a little bit further. Among other things, it would punish salespeople and retailers who knowingly make misleading claims by fining those companies and those people. Those fines could be $50,000 or up to $100,000 if the customer is over the age of 65.
Wow.
Yeah, and both of these bills have received hearings. They've gained some traction in the State House, and we will be following them to see if they become law.
Yeah, in the meantime, if you have been impacted by a solar panel purchase or you want the I-Team to dig into something that you think may have been a deceptive sales practice, reach out to them. Their number is on our website, iteam@cbs.com.